Greetings. Please be advised this video is under me investigations. Greetings. Welcome to my series of atheistic and theistic me investigations, ATM, where I offer my take on analyses and responses to certain memes, both atheistic and theistic in nature. In our meme investigations today, we will take a look at a meme that is set to feature a picture and a quote from the biologist Richard Dawkins, which reads as follows. The creator of the universe went to great trouble to create the foreskin, then insisted that you cut it off. Makes sense. So, Mr. Richard Dawkins' quote sarcastically implies that he doesn't see any sense in God going through all the trouble to create the foreskin of the penis, if God is again going to insist that you cut it off anyway. Now, to understand how this makes sense, we will have to look at the woman's hymen from a religious standpoint, because I see a certain similarity in relation to the foreskin. So, as is seen in the biblical text, a woman's hymen is of great value when it comes to the eventful union of man and woman that is called marriage. Today, the practice may mostly be lost on religious people, but originally, man and woman would make a covenant during their union, and the consummation acted as a mark of the couple's marriage covenant. The man had to break the woman's hymen during sex, and the blood-stained sheets used during the consummation of the marriage was to be kept by the woman's parents, first as proof of the woman's purity, and also as a mark of the marriage covenant's consummation. The religious seriousness of this is even accentuated by the fact that women were ineligible to marry anyone else if they already lost their virginity to someone whom they did not marry. And this meant such women could only become concubines and not wives, because if they married someone else, they would be stoned to death for trying to corrupt the concept of marriage covenants that God had set in place. And so, without the knowledge of such a practice, one can also question the purpose of creating the hymen by asking, why would God make the woman's vagina to consist a hymen in the first place if she always ends up losing it after sex? And I'm sure with the knowledge of this practice, we can easily understand that the act itself of losing the hymen is the reason that God created it. In short, a ceremonial event is made out of losing the hymen, and consequently, that ceremonial event called marriage consummation can be asserted as the reason for the creation of the hymen if we look at it from the religious standpoint. Now, just to give a non-religious example, phone companies will go to great lengths to make a product, box it up, and then sell it, even though at the end of the day, the box always comes off. So are phone companies stupid for boxing up their products? Not at all. Boxing up their products is a way of telling their consumers that the phone is new and has never been touched by another consumer's hands. And from that emerges the popular ceremony called the unboxing, where people will celebrate the first time opening of the product since its production. And so if there was no meaning derived from the unboxing of phone products, then yes, phone companies would be stupid to box up their phone products in the first place. Now, tying all this to the circumcision argument, just as the hymen can become a stupid addition to the woman's body if there is no symbolic significance to losing it, just as boxing products up can become a stupid practice if there is no symbolic significance to the box and the act of unboxing the products, the foreskin can become a stupid addition to the man's body if there is no symbolic significance to cutting it off. And demonstrating my point, Mr. Richard Dawkins and many others alike will see circumcision as stupid because without understanding what anything is about, that particular anything can seem stupid. So, about circumcision. In Genesis 17 verse 11, the Creator is narrated to have said the following: "And ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you." This should at least show that the cutting of the foreskin is intended to act as a mark of the covenant that the Creator makes with a person getting circumcised in a religious setting. So, does it make sense that the Creator of the universe went to great trouble to create the foreskin, then insisted that you cut it off? The answer: only if there is significance to cutting it off. And from the looks of things, as Genesis 17 verse 11 puts it, the cutting of the foreskin serves to become a mark of the covenant that the Creator makes with those he calls his people, which means, at least to God and the man getting circumcised in the religious setting, there is a significance to cutting the foreskin. Think of it this way: if God created all men with penises that comprise no foreskins, then circumcision would not become a mark of the Creator's covenant with man. He would have to look to something else to fulfill that role, for example, a tattoo. And again, people like Mr. Richard Dawkins would then question why God made men without tattoos if, in the end, men were gonna get one anyway. And again, I would have to respond by saying God wouldn't have made the tattoo because he wanted the act of getting the tattoo to be a mark or a sign of entering the covenant with him. So I hope you get the point that I am making. God's intention was to create woman with the hymen so that at a special time and event in the religious woman's life, called marriage, she would ultimately lose her hymen, which would serve as a sign of the covenant happening during that event. Similarly, God's intention was to create man with the foreskin so that at a special time and event in the religious man's life, which is the union of God and man, the foreskin can be cut off and serve as a sign of the covenant happening during that event. With that being said, this signals the end of our investigations today. Otherwise, I am hoping this presentation has been educative thus far, and I would like you to please share whatever thoughts, opinions, or critiques you might have about this presentation in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.